everybody. Welcome to week 3 of our wellness videos. Really appreciating some of the feedback that we've been getting on our last couple of weeks, which has been fantastic. So make sure if you do have any feedback, make sure you leave them. We want to hear from you. We want to hear about things that you want to hear, that you want us to talk about, in terms of your wellness. Okay, last week we spoke about your a certain mindset, and letting things go and moving on. Today we're going to talk about motivation. All right, so it's really important. These are sort of things for you as a person, as well as an athlete, that we can develop these skills and create an understanding. All right, so last week we talked about the accepting mindset. So accepting what happens. So we used a scenario of what would happen in a game. So first minute of the game, okay, floating cross comes into the 6-yard area. You go to make a run to take the ball and you misjudge it and the opposition score. That's the very first that's the very first minute of the game. 30 seconds, could be 15 seconds. All right. If you're playing a 90-minute game, that's only one very small portion of that game. Okay, so it's really important that we have an accepting mindset, or we develop those skills to be able to deal with these moments. Okay. How you respond to these moments not only has an effect on yourself, okay, but it can have an effect on others. All right. So the next time that cross is played in, how do you react? Do you go and deal with that cross confidently and give your teammates confidence? Or do you stay on your line scared of making a mistake? Okay. And those sort of things can have repercussions in terms of how your teammates and how your other players will respond as well. Okay. And you know what? Does this one moment determine your whole match performance? How many times do you see a goalkeeper make a mistake and they let affect their full game? But if you let that one mistake go, and you have that accepting mindset, and you develop those skills, you can still keep your team in the game and help create opportunities for your team to score more goals and prevent opposition from scoring goals, and still put in a really outstanding performance and positive performance, and walk off the field and go, you know what, that's something to learn from, and just move on with it and tackle it for next week. So today we're going to talk about motivation. Okay, so we did a bit of a poll during the week. Okay, and we put on our Instagram story. So, do you love something? Do you have to love something to be motivated to do it? Now, 72% of people said, yes, you do. You have to love something to be motivated to do something. So, today's going to be about motivation. Okay, what are the 3 principles, to help build a long-term motivation? Tash is going to talk to you about the components of it, all right, and how to break it down, so that everything that we do, it's about understanding, that even the most difficult of tasks can be broken down, and we can get motivated. All right, hands up those who put off uni assessments or class assessments because they think it's too hard. You know what? How do we get motivated to do them? What things can we do ourselves, okay, to really build that up? All right. So a gentleman by the name of Jim Quick did some research into what things, how do people react, and what's their driver to be motivated to complete tasks. Okay. And he came up with a formula for sustaining motivation. You need a purpose in what you're doing. You need energy to be able to perform your task, and the task needs to be simple, or find a way to make it, have a bit of simplicity about it. Okay. In order to be able to keep the motivation and keep doing something, and in order to reach an end goal.
Thanks, Kenny. So we're going to talk first about purpose. So when we're looking at purpose, we're looking at, why are you doing this task? If you have no idea and it's something you don't really enjoy, you aren't going to want to do it. You kind of think, what's the point? Clearly, you're not going to be motivated. So we really need to know our why. So for example, when this whole situation happened with the restrictions, I wanted to do some fitness, and the fitness I wasn't doing, or the fitness I was doing, wasn't exactly goalkeeper specific. So Kenny was saying, well, why don't you do forwards and backwards shuttle runs? So I was like, oh, sweet, that makes plenty of sense. We're moving forwards and backwards. And he said, and every now and then chucking a collapse start. And I thought, I'm going to be doing this up at the local park. I'm not going to just drop to the floor for no reason. I've got no one there to serve me the ball. And even if I did it, because I'm going to be running and trying to, really work at a high level, I'm not even going to have a good diving technique. I was like, yeah, no, I'm probably not going to do that. But then he explained that that's actually the fitness that we need as goalkeepers. You're constantly dropping to the ground and getting back up quickly and moving again. So once it made sense, I was actually really motivated to do it, and I actually did it, even though there were people around. So when we know our why, it can actually motivate us. So we need to know our purpose. So this was the big question that we had to this week, which was, do I have to love it to be motivated? Now the answer is no, you don't. Yeah, it makes it easier and it helps, but just knowing the benefit of what you're doing can be enough. So understanding your why for doing something can create that motivation. So think about a weakness in your game. You probably don't love working on those things, but you know they benefit you as a player. They make you better. I personally don't like doing 1v1s at training, but I do know that's a situation that'll come up in a game. So I think about, why is it actually good for me to do this practice? I know that it allows me to improve. And if I don't like it, the chances are I don't feel like I'm good at it. So again, letting me improve will maybe build my confidence around it too. It does prepare me for games. Again, I can't avoid them. And it helps my overall performance. I don't want 1v1s to be an easy goal against me. I know why it's important for me to practice them. So again, that helps with my motivation. How can words help me? Word choice is a big one, and we often don't think about how much words can really impact us. So I want you to think about this. What makes you feel more motivated? I have to, I should. So for me, it would be, I have to do 1v1s. I should do 1v1s. Or I change it and say, I get to. Think about your weakness. If you say, I get to do this, or something you don't like, I get to do it. Now it becomes an opportunity. So I have to and I should is more like a chore. It's like you're being forced to do it. Whereas as soon as you say, I get to, it makes it an opportunity, and it's an opportunity to improve. And it becomes more of your choice to do so. So just wording things differently can impact your motivation towards something. If you are still lacking that motivation, question, what do I miss out on if I don't do it? So how am I limiting myself? If I don't do 1v1s ever, I won't be ready for them in the game. If I choose to not work on them, I'm giving away easy goals. I'm not helping myself. I'd probably have a moment being annoyed that I haven't worked on them in a game. All right, so I'm not setting myself up to do well in all my areas as a keeper. I can't just forget certain areas and expect to perform well. So again, what do I miss out on if I don't do it? And how am I limiting myself? So the next part of our equation is energy. If you lack energy, your ability to be productive and effective decreases. Have you ever not wanted to do something you love because you feel tired?
Yep.
It's like even just doing something like going out with mates. You are too tired to do it, even though you know it's something you love. So your energy actually affects your motivation towards everything. Energy levels can be impacted from anything from sleep, nutrition, exercise, recovery, workload, people you are around, stress, and there's plenty of other things. And you can be both.
Chocolate.
Wouldn't that boost your energy?
Sometimes.
Maybe. For me, it does. You can be both physically and mentally drained, which mentally drained ties into also being emotionally drained. So being physically tired is when your body has not recovered properly, when it cannot perform at its best. Being mentally tired is when you can't process information effectively. As goalkeepers, that's your decision making that can be compromised. So doing too much exercise without enough recovery will likely leave you physically tired. Whereas too many decisions, too much work, too many interruptions, demands, or shifts in your attention can mentally drain you. That's too many things happening and not enough time to recover mentally. There's also research showing that being mentally tired actually impacts you physically. So as athletes, recovery impacts our energy levels, which impacts our performance. So our energy level impacts how motivated we are to do any task, be it one we love or one that we don't like. The last part of our equation. Even if you know your purpose and you are full of energy, you won't be motivated if you feel like the task is too big or if you feel the goal is too far away from you. You need to break it down, you need to make it simple. This is all about helping yourself. So with schoolwork or study, asking yourself, what is the next smallest thing I can do to move forwards will benefit you. Instead of the next, hand in the assignment. Actually, what is the next step to move towards? Well, next step that's going to move you a little bit more towards your goal. It might be as simple as picking a topic, understanding a concept, writing a conclusion. But if you can break it down and tick off the little things, we actually are more motivated by achieving. So if we make the achievements really, really small, we're going to be more motivated along the way. So we break it down into steps. And there's always a tiny action that can keep you moving forwards. In training, like we said last week, now is the time when you can break down your skills. And you guys are pretty lucky because Kenny's been doing that for you in the videos he's putting up. He isn't just throwing you into a full technique, he's breaking it down step by step so you can build. When you can't get the full technique, you become less motivated. But breaking it down allows you to build motivation as you build that technique up. Again, you're ticking off the little boxes, getting one part of the skill right, and then you're building on it, which increases that motivation to keep going. It's the small steps that move you towards your end goal. If you make the next step simple and it feels like it's achievable, you'll be more likely to actually do it and you'll be more motivated. This could be something as simple as writing down what you're going to work on tomorrow and having your clothes and equipment out ready. So this also ties in.
Getting to that, leading on from that, what we're going to get you to do is your task for the week. All right. And something we're going to build on for next week as well is what we call a self-discovery list. Now, what we want you to do is write down a list. What's in your week? So what commitments do you have during the week? Do you go to school, uni, working, training, like family commitments? What sort of things fill your week? Okay. Playing PlayStation or computer game. What sort of events, what tasks fill your week? Okay. And I want you to break it up into two things. I want you to break it up into what do you need to do? So, for instance, your education, important. Your training is important. Family commitments, obviously. So, things that you need to do, things that are obviously priorities. Okay. And you know what? They're things that you need to do in order for you to keep evolving and keep progressing and developing. And also that, there's not really an option to do it. Okay. So, write down a list there. So what do you need to do? Your second list is going to be, what do you love doing? Now, is that going down the park and kicking a ball with a mate? Or is it playing computer games? Or is it watching TV or Netflix? And so those are sort of things that you might do to sort of relax and unwind and sort of just, what do you love doing? So not necessarily that you have to do or that, you need to do, and then they're your commitments. And it's things that you enjoy doing that have a little bit more flexibility about them, okay, in terms of the time commitment you give to it. You can play a computer game for half an hour, or, some days or some weeks, if you've got a little bit more time, you might say, I need that extra half hour. You might play for an hour, or go down the park and kick a ball with a mate, or whatever it is, okay? So the things that you not need to do, they're, in a way, a luxury, okay, because they're things that have flexible timings, and that your outlet. They're things that just distract you away from your education, from your training, and that you enjoy, that you love doing. Okay, so I want you to make those two lists for me. So, what things do you need to do? So, what things do you need to do with your education? So, with your schooling or uni work or work commitments, with your training, what sort of training commitments do you have, and what family commitments? So, what sort of things? So, write down those things that you need to do each week, and then write a list down of next to it. So have it side by side. Okay, what do you love doing? All right. And next week, what we're going to do is we're going to help show you how to use these lists to help you develop your week, how to help you plan your week out. Now, it's not going to be set in stone. but it's going to give you a general idea on how to plan your week out, how to use these things and understand how your week's being filled and what things you're doing, okay, and what your balance is like. All right. So really important. Do those lists, and next week we're going to show you a template, and then we're going to share it with you. Okay, but we're going to show you how to use it, and how to be effective with those lists. All right. So just remember what keeps you motivated. You need a purpose. You need energy, okay, to match that purpose. And your tasks need to have simplicity about them. So how can you make the most complicated of tasks simple? Simplify it, break it down. If it's a technique, we talk about in a technique, performing a technique, it's about breaking it down and building it back up, isolating and identifying the individual movements and putting them together. So with diving, for instance, it might be keeping your head still, using your hips to drive across, you taking the step to transfer your body weight, keeping your hands in front. There's a lot of little different components, but by breaking each one down, it allows us to make it easier to put them together as one. All right. So it keeps it simple so we achieve something. All right. If it's a uni assessment, breaking it, or a school work, break it down into small parts. Highlight the key words in the question, or what sort of things do you need to do. Make some notes on it. All right. Everything can be broken down and simplified. Okay. So have a purpose and a why. Know your why. Know your reason. Why it is that you're doing these things. What's your reason? Okay. What's your drive? Have the energy. Make sure you're looking after your physical health and your mental health. Okay. Especially with so much time that we spend on computers, our mental health can be quite draining. You're finding that you're making a lot of decisions and you're thinking a lot. You may be physically okay, but mentally your brain is working in overdrive. So you really need to make sure you're finding that balance of completing physical activity, all right, to allow your mental break, but also making sure that you're making decisions and you're working your brain as well, all right, and you're resting when you need to, and listening to your body. Okay, put all these things together. Okay, this is going to really help your long-term motivation. All right. So
And can I just say,
yes,
back on that side, if you aren't feeling motivated, actually reflect and discover why. So this week, if you find that you're stuck with something, and you find that you're sitting on the lounge and you can't get yourself up to do it, think about, okay, what area am I actually missing, and make it work for you. So guys, the stuff that we're teaching you is stuff that you can take and apply straight away. So I'd love to hear, actually, if anyone finds themselves stuck in that moment this week. It might even be Kenny. But if you find yourself stuck in those moments, think about, what one was it? Your purpose? Was it your energy? Was it needing to break it down? And how did it actually let you be motivated and achieve? And again, Jim Kwik has so many other useful tools, and he talks about so many different things. So look him up if you're interested in any of it. But it's Jim Kwik, Kwik. Thanks, Kenny.
Thanks, Tash. So hope you've enjoyed the presentation. Again, make sure get onto our social medias and YouTube. Check out some of the videos that we're releasing. Make sure you follow Tash on Become Aligned on Instagram. Okay, we want to hear back from you. Give us your feedback. If there's something you want us to help you with, please let us know. We're here to help shape this content to help you as people and as athletes. So until we speak to you again, take care, stay safe, and we look forward to seeing you soon.